Welcome back to the podcast for small businesses. Today we have Rich Cardon, life and career coach. And what we really want to go over today is how Rich went from not being a coach 18 months ago to all having paying clients today, in today's day and age. I don't know specifically when he got his first, so don't
Yeah.
think it was today he closed his first client. But Rich, to start us off, why don't you just tell us a bit about who are you?
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, Mike, Mess, thanks very much for having me. Really excited to be here. So, so I spent over 25 years in the corporate workplace with a few Fortune 25 companies, and and through that time, I did a lot of managing of people, and the corporate structure can be a little rigid. It got a little rigid for me, and what I really enjoyed about working in a corporate job was the managing of people, was the team building, and the interaction with people. And that led me to, through the years, I went down a path of yoga, certified, and that ended up not necessarily getting me where I wanted to go. Was something that I was something that I still do today, but I decided that I didn't like to teach it as much as I liked to do it. I went down a mindfulness and meditation path as well, and while I had gone through those three things and took a number of years to do that, none of them were getting me to the place that I wanted to get. And as I had completed them, I kind of felt like that they like, okay, I did those, and they're, now I'm going to move on to the next thing. What I didn't realize was that they all helped me get into coaching, and allowed me to really have a much broader approach to coaching. So I go to a weekend seminar. I was blown away by the seminar, and out of that, because the person that ran the seminar was a coach, I got myself a coach, and literally 60 days after I got my coach, we had come up with she had coached me, and I still have her as a coach today, and I decided I wanted to be a life coach. So we jumped into an apprenticeship, and I started coaching very quickly thereafter. And then about 8 months after that, I had my first paying client, and it's really been took me a long time to get here, and I'm very thankful and a lot of gratitude for the process that I went through. And because one of the things that I have that I learned about myself, and that I've learned as I coach other people, is that anything that we've done in the past is something that's going to it helps us get to where we are today. And that's been a huge learning lesson for me.
I'm really intrigued about using lessons of the past. It's something we believe in as well in our company. How do you help people understand how to use really negative things that they might not want to think about and extract something useful from that negativity?
Yeah, it's a great question, Mike. So anything, and we there's two different lenses that you can look out of anything at. So you can look at it. There's always something that you can pull from the positive side of things. It doesn't always feel good, but there's always a learning in it. And I can't think of any situation positive or negative, and you had mentioned negative, that you're not going to learn from it. So it may not be, it's not going to be a scenario that you may want to relive or rethink about, but it's going to help you inquire about how you're going to handle that in the future, for sure.
That's a good approach. So when you talked about, I think you said apprenticeship was the word you used, that you were
Yes.
apprenticing under your coach. We don't see a lot of people take that step. So that's something that's not commonly spoken about. Do you think that helps shortcut the time it took you to get a paying client? Would the apprenticeship program help you get there quicker?
100%. You know, and I think with apprenticeships, you know, you're having somebody pull you under their wing, and you're seeing how they're doing it. It's real time, real life. You know, there aren't you know, there are opportunities to take standardized tests if you want. What I was really interested in was real time work, and not coming from a, you know, from the book side of things, and then taking it from the book and then applying it to, you know, to coaching. This was real time. So in the apprenticeship, there were 4 total people, and we really had we were able to constantly be in contact. We were able to coach each other, and we had, and of course, you know, everybody's different, so everybody had a different approach, everybody had different answers to things, everybody had different reactions to things. And then as we started to branch out and coach other people, that, you know, we could come back together and go through what we ran into, you know, ask for advice. Like it was always, it was this constantly churning machine that was just it was constant learning and constant exploration. It was really great.
Well, life is constant learning. You want to always learn, always improve. Improve 1% a day, and you will be surprised at the end of the year how much you have moved. You won't realize it. I also, like Mike mentioned, that apprenticeship thing. I'm a big fan of it myself. I've always believed that's the right way of going about it. And
Yeah.
you mentioned we're all different. There are people that learn better by reading and watching videos, and some people learn better by doing, which apparently is the case for all of us 3. So we're not very diverse. I think most people in business go about it that way. You can't teach about the business world in a normalized book, because that book will nearly be outdated before you finish the book. It moves so goddamn fast. So what would you say, what are some of the things that you have picked up along this journey, some of the lessons?
So I think there's been a number of really good lessons, and I think a main one for me is that we are 100% responsible for ourselves.
For sure.
And you know, I didn't realize I was doing it, you know, until a few years ago. I was really pulling the victim card on myself, if you will. So, you know, blaming other areas, whether it was a job or a circumstance, for where I wasn't satisfied in life. And it was so refreshing. It was like one of these, like, I like to call them like lightning bolt moments, like, you know, and that came from that weekend class that I was in. You know, somebody mentioned, you know, pulling the victim card, and they said that phrase, we're 100% responsible for ourselves. And I was like, oh, like, just a huge wake up call, that all of these things. And hey, you know, like, I think it's really, it was like over 20 years that I was doing that. And so it wasn't that I wasn't happy, but for certain parts of my life, I was like, you know, this isn't going right because of, you know, X, and this isn't going right because of Y, when in fact, it was really my attitude that was holding me back. And and making those things in my mind not as positive as they really could have been.
I'm just letting that sit in my brain for a minute. That's really profound. Not letting things be as positive as they could have been. That seems like a human trait.
Yeah.
I
That's
believe so.
fascinating. How do you help people overcome that? I mean, it's almost innate to our human nature. How do you help people overcome that tendency?
For sure. So so there's a so we have a tendency that our personalities are created. I'm getting this from Dr. Bruce Lipton. You can look him up on YouTube. He has a number of really good books out. That our personalities are created from before we're born, so 0 to 7 years old. And if you think about the way that all we're doing is drinking in what's happening around us. So as we're raised as children, there's it's all to be in a very safe environment. And don't go in the street, don't touch that, it's hot. And so we have this, we create this personality that is based on what other people are doing. And it tends to be in a negative format. The other side of that is in our DNA. It's really, I was watching something the other day, and it popped up again, that we still, in our DNA, is the fight or flight mechanism from our ancestors that were running around on the plains. And they were worried about saber-toothed tigers eating them, all kinds of crazy things. We don't have that in our society today, thankfully. Yet with that still in our DNA, anything that we deem as being fearful, which it could be a presentation, it could be being on a podcast, it could be going out on a date, like whatever makes you nervous, it's fearful. You're fearful from it, and that's what tends to run your life. So there's a really great calculation that you can do. So if you multiply 24 hours a day times 7 days a week times 365 days a year times your age, I'm at like 4 million. So I've been practicing for about 4 million hours to be myself. And and when you decide, when somebody tells you, and or you get it from a book, or however, you can create a new habit in and around 21 days. So you can really pretty easily reprogram all of those hours that you've trained yourself, just by, and that's where a coach comes in and really does help you, to give you the support, and to give you some of the very simple processes to think and change the way you're thinking, to move from how you've been thinking most of your life to how you think today.
For
and
sure.
and it's also and it's also not a long process. Like, you're going to spend, it's the 10 to 15 minutes a day for 21 days to recalibrate what has been millions of hours
Mm.
of you training yourself. So it's really quite miraculous.
So this makes me actually want to ask two questions, but I think I'm going to combine them into one. So, you starting out in business, how have you dealt with both those 4 million hours, or how many ever hours it was when you started, and also those primal fears? Because none of those has had more like any experience in having your own business.
Right. Yeah. Great question, Mess. So the once you it's another lightning bolt moment, as I'll call it. Once you get the idea that that you are thinking negatively, that you're pulling the victim card, and that you can change it, it creates this opportunity for it. The opportunity for change is actually created. And and so then it's thinking into it. And you have to be, I think this is where a lot of people, this is where, I've had issues. It's just like going to the gym and exercising. Like, it's not always easy to keep to be consistent with it. And if somebody was to tell me that I could get a six pack by going to the gym for 15 minutes a day for 21 days, I'm probably going to do that. And if you think of the not I'm definitely going to do that. And also, like, so if you think about, like, where some stressful or negative feelings are consistently popping up in your life, when, like, if I'm going to have to take 15 minutes a day for 21 days to see if I can change that, I mean, I'll do that all day. It's an easy bet to take, when just to even see if it's going to work. And time and time again, it does.
I like how you break it down to something that's very easy. 15 minutes, that's not a lot of time. Not
No.
for anybody. Anybody can find 15 minutes. If they say they can't, they're lying to themselves. Big time.
I feel the same way. And the way we think about things typically is, like, so I'll go back to the gym reference, or go back to, like, I'll use the gym reference. It is that, when you think about going to the gym, you're, at least, well, my immediate mindset is, so how many years am I going to have to go to the gym before I see some sort of results? And again, it's 15 minutes a day for about 21 days. I think it's an easy trade-off. It's an easy way to look at it.
Yeah, the only thing that's hard, at least for me, I can only speak for myself doing those 21 days, that's doing it consistently for 21 days. Because let's say then you have a couple of long days, or something happens one of the days. It's not
Right.
just a good day. You just want to go to bed. Then you go to bed not having done it. Then all of a sudden you start falling into the trap. Okay, it's okay not to do it sometimes. I'll do it most of the time, and then you slowly scale back. How would you
Right.
advise a person to deal with that specific scenario?
Sure. So, my favorite thing. So, a coach is a great way to do that. You can also get an accountability partner. Somebody, a friend that, once you explain, I think, it's such an engaging conversation to have. Once you explain to somebody that, you, and particularly if it's a friend, even a colleague, someone that you trust, that will, it's not even holding you responsible. It's checking in to make sure that you're that you're doing this 21-day routine. It's accountability partner is the way that I would definitely start.
I just wanted to see if Mike wanted to jump in, but I guess not. He's leaving us alone, thank fuck. Couldn't resist. The question that kind of follows up to that, because accountability partners is definitely great. It's an absolutely amazing thing, and I would also recommend people to go out and get one. But it's getting the right one. Because, and also maybe if you are young, I would recommend to get an accountability group. Get 4 people together. Because then 2 of you fail, the 2 others are still going to be like, nah, come on, get going.
Great point. That's a really good point.
Because I've tried that exact same thing. Then you both have a bad day. Then nothing gets done. And then we're kind of into that kind of negative spiral again. So I just wanted to hear if you had a different answer than accountability partner. But I guess accountability is the best solution.
Yeah, and as I mentioned to coach, you can do it yourself. And that would be in the in the format of watching. There are YouTube videos that you can watch. You can watch Dr. Bruce Lipton. There are a handful of others, Wayne Dyer. That there are, and you can do it yourself. It just like anything, it's going to take a little bit more sometimes, and it's really how bad you want it, at some point. And it comes, brings me back to one of my favorite coaching phrases. We are 100% responsible for ourselves.
For sure.
So if you're good, if at some point we have to take responsibility for it. And and hey, I'll be the last, but it took me over 2 decades to figure it out. So um I'm on both ends of the spectrum there.
Yeah.
So, who are your favorite types of people to work with?
So my favorite type of people to work with are people that are ready to take the next steps in their lives, and particularly people that don't see how much they've actually already created in their lives. You know, we've all, and I have not run into anybody yet that they're really pulling the victim card hard on themselves. And we really slow down. We take a look at what they've already done in their lives. you know they're living somewhere. They have or had a job. There are things that they want to do. There's a lot of natural curiosity. Like there's a lot of stuff, that's a lot of really positive stuff that's going on, that a lot of people just kind of push to the side because they don't think it has helped them in any way. Um and and so so that's where we start. And it doesn't take very long for them to realize that, oh yeah, I have really created quite a bit in my life. And I've done a lot. I've done it all on my own. I mean, look, we all get some support, friends and family. Yet at the end of the day, you still have to have done all of it, if not, or most of it, if not all of it, on your own. And then we start moving forward with what they're really interested in.
So, you're really reaching out to people that are ready to make a change, that are
Yes.
not they're not people that have just sat around and been told what to do their whole life. They've done something at some point. They've had a little sense of initiative. So, how do you differentiate yourself in this space? I mean, no, a number of our listeners are on the verge of starting a business. They haven't taken the plunge yet.
Sure.
Uh, for someone like myself, I was chronically unemployable, so I had to start my own company.
There you go.
There are some brains like mine out there that are just much better off starting our own thing, and people follow us for whatever reason. Um, so that's part of it, right? A person needs to know a little bit about themselves. So,
Yeah.
asking what you know about yourself, how do you differentiate yourself from all the other bazillion coaches?
Yeah. So, it's and so kind of the coaching lineage that I've learned from. It's really all about it at the baseline. It's all about service. And once the people, so it's not so I so when I prior to having a coaching container with someone, have at least two calls. There's no charge for them. And we see if we're compatible. If we do a gap analysis, and to take a look at what they're looking to accomplish, what they and all of this is just to see if we're compatible. And so if they're compatible with me, and if I'm compatible with them, because sometimes it doesn't work out, where it just, we're a little bit on a different page about something. It's just like anything else. You go to a particular restaurant over one because you like it, or you connect more with it than another, or a gym, or a place to get your hair cut, or a garage to get your car fixed, on and on and on. And after those at least two conversations, we pretty well know where which direction we're going to head into. And hey, if it's not me, then I'm very happy to connect the person with another coach or another couple of coaches, and to make sure that they're getting the that they're going to get where they need to go. Because I have a really great belief that the people that I'm going to connect to, I'll connect to them, and they're out there. And I think same with other businesses as well. You keep putting your name out there, connecting, and it'll happen.
If
That's a
you,
really good approach. I like that a lot.
yeah,
Go ahead, Moss.
yeah, it's a good approach as long as you provide enough value. And
Well,
very
absolutely.
good point you put out there that you have 2 free calls. Most people, including ourselves, in most cases only do one.
Yeah, but it's about if you're gonna put it from for me and my business, if I'm putting out there that service is at the base, then that's really what we want to what I'm looking to do, is to be as of much service in those 2 calls as I can be. And that's where the value is mass. And it was really, really well said. Like, if I'm not valuable enough in those 2 calls, then they're probably not going to want to move forward.
Mm,
And
Exactly.
so
yeah.
then, yeah, and then I have to and then I'll have to rethink. So after the calls, I'm taking notes of, w- w- looking at what I've done, what I've said, and is there something that I could have said here or there, and just lets me, figure out what I could have done better.
Yeah, goes perfectly with one of the third things we spoke about is those daily improvements. Just make sure that you perform better on the next 2 calls.
Yes,
If you keep
So
doing that, even if it takes some time, eventually somebody will pay you because you become knowledgeable enough that you can provide value. Pretty
exactly,
simple equation. Go ahead, Mike.
exactly.
So we're coming to the end of the interview. What sort of things do you want to leave the audience with, and how should people get a hold of you? We'll have your links down below the listing here, so people can
Great.
click. But any final words of wisdom or things you think the rest of the world should know?
Yeah, anything is possible. And I even Mike, since you're in Austin, even used to be able to say, oh well, gosh, I want to go to the moon. Well, or not the moon, I want to go into space. And that's, you might need $1 million to do it, and it's possible today. So I'd almost challenge people to, like, what's not possible in
Mm,
in your life, and let's figure out how to do that. Now, like, for instance, maybe I want to be a professional athlete. Okay, depending on your age, maybe that's not, or your skill set, maybe that's not it. Maybe you can work alongside of a pro athlete in something. And, like, so there are ways to meet those things that you want to achieve. And so never think that anything is off the table, and continue to explore it, and find a coach. It's changed my life. I've seen it change countless other people's lives. And yeah, so there's nothing that's not possible, if you and please explore it, definitely.
So, if our audience want to help how they actually can achieve what's impossible and they want to connect with you, what's the best place to get a hold of you? Of course, they can kind of see it down below.
Yeah, richcartercoaching.com. and that's the best. There's email links there. I'll get back to you quickly. You can take a look at the website a little bit, and yeah, it's this has been an unbelievable journey for me. And I hope that I get the opportunity to to speak to to some of your listeners, and show them what's possible for them.
We do too. That's why we bring our guests on, because we think you guys are worth highlighting.
Awesome. Well, gosh, guys, I really appreciate it. Mike, Mass, please, thank you so much for the opportunity to be on your show.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for being
much for coming on. And if you enjoyed, besides clicking the link down below, before you do that, please hit the like button and drop us a comment. Then click the link.